I've literally never experienced fear like this in my entire life and felt sick and as if I couldn't breathe. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Drip Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. I'm joined by Lozzie and by Scott. We're going to be talking about the Hatman, also known as the sleep paralysis demon. Very, very creepy individual that some of you may have come across. I know a lot of people have. I've had stories sent in that we're not going to read today. I just mean historically. I've had stories sent in to dudeystories@gmail.com that have experienced this phenomena, which is horrendous, which does potentially have scientific explanation, but at the same time, it's very, very weird, very strange that it's always the same thing over and over again across the entire world. Guys, Hatman, what do you guys think?
Never heard of it. I have heard of sleep how do you say it?
Easy for you to say.
Oh, paralysis. I got it.
Paralysis demon.
Yeah. I have heard of that, and I know what that is, but I've not heard of Hatman. Strange name as well, because it doesn't sound as horrific as what sleep paralysis is.
If you see him, just Google. Just go on Google Images, Loz, and just type in the Hatman, and then tell me it's not fucking terrifying. Scott, what do you think?
Yeah, obviously sleep paralysis on its own, horrible. Shadow figures, horrible. Put them together, horrible.
Yeah. Some say the Hatman is like the king of the shadow people. He's the Don. Yeah, he's like the big Donny at the top of the food chain. Yeah. Have either of you ever experienced sleep paralysis?
Yeah.
I have, but I think I've said this before, not necessarily on this podcast, but it's stupid. So I feel like it would detract.
What? Oh, your sleep paralysis? I thought you meant like sleep paralysis is stupid.
No, I mean, my story of it is just asinine. So I feel like it would take away.
Okay.
Yeah, I have had it. It's not great, but mine was such a stupid situation.
Did you soil yourself?
No, I don't mean like my reaction to it was stupid. I mean the actual situation in which my mind was when the sleep paralysis kicked in. Didn't make any sense.
Was your sleep paralysis demon Britney Spears?
No, it was in the water. I was swimming, like I guess I was dreaming.
Oh, in your dream.
Right. Yeah, and my sleep paralysis kicked in mid me having a samurai fight with sharks.
Right.
It detracts. Like I couldn't. I couldn't move. I was awake.
In your dream?
No, I woke up from my dream because a great white like come at me and fucked me
up.
But I couldn't move when I woke up. I didn't necessarily see anything. I just couldn't move. Maybe it wasn't sleep paralysis. Maybe I was just, I don't know, had frozen muscles or something, I don't know.
Or maybe you were lucky because the sleep paralysis demon Hatman was just outside of your peripheral vision.
There you go.
Could be the case. Yeah. Could be the case. Scott, what have you had, mate?
So I was asleep. I think it was after we came back from either the Ram the first time or 30 East Drive the first time.
Okay.
I can't remember which. But basically, I was asleep in my bed. I woke up and there was a doll-sized sort of creepy woman sat on the top shelf above my PC.
Right. Okay.
No
shadow fedora.
No, this was an actual. There was a woman there, and then she fell off the shelf.
Okay.
And obviously, I'm laid there, unable to move.
Yeah.
And out the corner of my eye, then a fully grown woman stands up from the floor.
Jesus.
And is just stood there next to me, kind of your sort of generic witch kind of appearance.
Okay.
And it's just stood there, and the kind of The end result was I eventually kind of forced my body to lunge at her. But I had the advantage of I knew it was sleep. I knew I was in sleep paralysis.
Right, okay.
So I knew that I was awake and that she probably wasn't real. And
Yeah.
my plan was every part of me just sort of went towards her. And in the end, that kind of woke me up enough.
Okay.
I then didn't
Interesting.
sleep for about a week afterwards.
Fair play. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I've experienced it a few times. From my recollections, I've never actually seen the Hatman, but I have seen a witch.
Is it?
I've seen a witch.
I've got an image, right? I want to know if this quantifies as the Hatman.
Yes, but
Absolutely.
tends to be entirely shadow. But basically for the audio listeners, you're talking like Slender Man, but entirely shadow with a fedora. Now, I watched a documentary on this the other day, and lots of different people recounting the same thing. Sometimes it's like, you wake up from sleep paralysis, or you wake up in sleep paralysis, and he's just stood there. Sometimes he's floating above you. Sometimes he will slowly edge his way towards you, opening up wardrobes, closets, bedroom doors, walking through. And apparently just the sensation that you have as you look at him is just that of absolute dread and impending doom, which is just like horrendous.
Yeah. I don't know if any of the stories that you have about this will cover this, but I've heard in the past that people kind of, like, some people have woken up in a pitch black room and still been able to see this shadow. It's kind of like he's a different level of dark, is how I've seen it described. That even in a room that is pitch black, you can see
still
the sheer
see
lack
the
lack
silhouette.
of anything where he is.
Jesus, it's just
kind of like
void.
an inverse silhouette, where it's a void instead of where it's not blocking the light; it's a lack of light.
Yeah. Well, I've written a little description. So, the Hatman is a figure often reported in sleep paralysis experiences and is a part of folklore and paranormal accounts. People who have encountered the Hatman describe him as a shadowy figure, usually tall and wearing a wide-brimmed hat, sometimes a trench coat or cloak. He often appears during episodes of sleep paralysis, a condition where a person temporarily cannot move or speak while falling asleep or waking up, often accompanied by vivid and terrifying hallucinations. The key characteristics of the Hatman: a shadowy appearance. He is usually seen as a dark shadow-like figure with indistinct facial features. A wide-brimmed hat, the most notable feature, is the hat, which is often described as a fedora or cowboy-style hat. Scott, you love that. Observing presence. Witnesses often report that he stands at the foot of their bed or in the corner of the room, watching them silently. He doesn't always move or speak. He has a menacing aura. Though he rarely physically interacts with the person, people often feel a strong sense of fear, dread, or evil when he is present. The phenomenon of the Hatman has been reported across cultures and is similar to other sleep-related hallucinations. The exact origin or nature of this figure is not clear, but he has become a widely recognized symbol in the paranormal and horror communities. Some believe the Hatman is a product of the brain's attempt to make sense of the disorientating state between wakefulness and sleep, while others view him as a supernatural entity or even a manifestation of darker spiritual forces. Yeah, this one's really interesting to me because it's just the fact that I know, ironically, it's not something that we have seen when we've experienced sleep paralysis, but the fact that it's, so many people across different cultures, different countries have seen this shadow figure specifically wearing a hat. It's such a random feature. It's such a random feature for it to be bullshit.
Yeah.
To me, it's just so weird. It's like the ancient depictions of dragons across cultures before we were like, sailing across the world and meeting each other. Like, how the fuck did that happen? It's like the fucking the pyramids and that being built with similar architecture in like by the Aztecs and the Egyptians, all these different things, all these things that it just shouldn't link up, but it does. What's this about? I can't help but feel, and I think I said this in last week's episode, I feel like the Hatman is an example of some strong, in my opinion, anecdotal, which I know is weak, evidence, loosely used, of the existence of, I wouldn't say ghosts, I would say demonic entities. And when I say that, I don't mean necessarily like, Lucifer fell from fucking heaven and, started something up in hell and has got all these demons and fallen angels and stuff. It could be a number of things, like a jinn, for example. The jinn, which is basically a malevolent interdimensional being that just likes to fuck with people and feed off of negative energies and things like that. It could be an example of that. But it's just weird, man. It's just weird. There's too many people seeing the same thing. Could it be widespread hysteria because of the invention of social media, etc., like planting the seed across? But I just feel like this has been going on historically for the longest time now, but was there a Hatman before the invention of the fedora? Is there any way of knowing? But then maybe this thing can fuck with time, Maybe he picked up a lovely shadow fedora in like the fucking 70s or something. It's just been going all about. It's mad. It's mad.
It is. It's strange considering how many times this, I'd say, version of the Hatman is basically described only when something specific like sleep paralysis happens.
Yeah.
That's the bit that would, obviously, that you're referring to leads to your thought that it's kind of a strong anecdotal evidence for demons.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so much that we don't understand, man. So much that we don't understand. We also don't understand much about dreams either, and how the fuck the brain does that and works like that. And, maybe listen, if we're opening the door to like interdimensional shit, right? Maybe there's some form of like energy when we dream that can be siphoned if you're in that level, because obviously sleep paralysis is you're between, like REM sleep is that you're between like deep sleep and waking up, and like you're in this weird kind of zone where your muscles are all paralyzed because your brain still thinks you're sleeping, so it doesn't want you to run about and enact your dreams because you might hurt yourself. And who knows? We don't understand dreams. We don't understand why it happens. We don't understand, potentially interdimensional beings. Maybe this thing feeds off of the fear and dream energy. Who the fuck knows? But it's always fucking stood there, staring at people, giving them dread, just watching. What's it watching for? Does it enjoy it? Or is it feeding? Could be feeding. I think it's feeding. Sickening. Do you know, I was watching that documentary yesterday, and there's like people that try and like make it happen by taking like Nitol and shit. I was struggling to sleep a couple of years ago, and I took some, like, I think it was Night Nurse. to like get you to sleep. And mate, the lucid dreams on that, fuck that. I had to stop because it was just too much. But there's people that like take it to like try and induce sleep paralysis to like meet him. And I was thinking like, oh, I might give that a bash. Have like a psychic like fucking battle with him. Like, I can't speak, but I can fucking have a little psychic battle with you. Right, let's get to the stories. Let's get to the cases.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I saw this post. The post was like, has anyone ever had sleep paralysis and met the Hatman or seen the Hatman? I saw this post and I immediately went to look for the episode. I think this was a podcast. I did an episode on the Hatman or something.
Okay.
But this was on Reddit. I will link the thread down below. I listened to it this morning on my way to take my kid to school. I have seen the Hat Shadow Man. I saw him one time and one time only when I was around 17. My family and I were coming home from the movies. At the time, we lived in this long trailer. The trailer had an entrance in the front and it had a back door. We used to always park behind the trailer and go into the back. So my dad parked, I got out and started walking towards the back door. Then I looked up and I saw him right there in the back door leaning against the wall with his long coat and top hat. I couldn't see any details, just a shadow like when you can see someone but you can't make out any of the details of their face. As soon as I saw him, I screamed. My dad rushed to see what was going on and saw nothing. Right after I screamed, I started crying, and a cat jumped from the door from where he was and ran away. When I looked back at the door, he was gone and I never saw him again. I'm now 34 years old, and just this year, I asked my mum if she remembered. She said no, but she said that at that trailer, my dad used to feel something and someone whispering in his ear at night, and he never told her until we moved out. She also told me that my little sister's friend used to tell my mum that somebody died there, and they would ask her if she saw a ghost. My mum is terrified of stuff like that, but she never saw anything. Now that's an interesting one, because that wasn't sleep paralysis. That was witnessing potentially the Hatman outside of his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting.
That one of the points that kind of makes me think, and it goes back to the question of the pod from last week, which is: are some people more susceptible to paranormal activity and encounters?
Yeah.
When you're asleep or in that state, I wonder if you are more susceptible to
more in tune.
Could that be? Obviously, the rest of your body's relaxed. Is your mind more relaxed?
Yeah.
And therefore more
open.
Easy to, yeah.
Yeah. That's a very good point. It's very interesting. That's very interesting. Let us know down below what you guys think. But yeah. Could be just a regular bog standard ghost. Could be, a little hat on a hat stand and a coat. Shadow the other side of a door. We can't rule all these things out. Or it could be, witnessing the Hatman maybe was fucking with the family. I mean, she did say that the dad reported feeling something and feeling someone whispering in his ear at night. That is horrible.
Yeah.
That is horrible.
The thing that I kind of think with that is it isn't stereotypical of Hatman's encounters.
Yeah.
So I wonder if, like you said, then it could be a case of mistaken identity in this is just a ghost that wears a hat. Because, ghosts have a full range of appearances.
Yeah, they do. No, that's very, very true.
Could this just be a ghost in a hat who is not the infamous Hatman?
Yeah. Let us know in the comments, ghost or Hatman. Let us know down below. Right, next story. Back in 2015, I was out of town for work. They posted me and my dog at a Holiday Inn. Every day was fine, nothing too out of the ordinary, till one night. As I was getting ready for bed, I tucked my dog in bed with me, turned off the lights. My eyes are now adjusting to the darkness. I'm thinking about my day and how amazing it was, feeling grateful. All the while, I'm looking toward the window, feeling the soft exterior light shining through the sheer curtains. I doze off, not sure how long the time had passed, but I woke up, again, all drowsy. I see my dog sleeping peacefully. I turn over to face the window again to get adjusted, and out of nowhere, I swear on my life, I see a dark figure hovering over me. Had a top hat and a long coat. I'm not sure if it's even a coat, just a shadow figure. The window light framed him to be even that more prominent. I screamed at the top of my lungs, "What are you doing here? Who are you?" and quickly turned on the table lamp. It was gone. Though I wasn't too sure if it was real, my dog wasn't even reacting to its presence, so the next morning I just brushed it off and thought it was delusional of me. Till one day a friend told me the same shit happened to him, which led me to many others. So many questions. Is it an intergalactic alien? Is it some kind of time traveler? Why didn't my dog react? What if I didn't react? What would have happened? Interesting.
See, this one again, they weren't asleep, as far as I'm aware, were they?
So they dozed off.
Okay.
So they came back around, but they didn't have sleep paralysis. There was a few on the documentary that didn't have sleep paralysis. Like there was one girl, she woke up when she was a kid, and the door opened, and she saw like the Hatman in the doorway. So she like put a cover over her head, and then was like, "I couldn't have seen that. That's ridiculous." Pulled it down, and the Hatman had got closer. Did it again, and then waited like ages. Thought it must be gone. Pulled it down. It was right there. So it's not always asleep, but it's always, around drowsiness. Maybe even the previous story, she's been to the cinema, it's late at night, getting home, she's drowsy. I think this thing feeds off of dreams. And
I feel like this might play into a little bit of what we were talking about, possibly towards the end of last pod, which is, I feel if you wake up or in a sleep paralysis and you can still see it, and it's like you turn on lights and it's still there, that's different from kind of being drowsy from just waking up, seeing something, turn the light on, and it's not there. I feel like it might be like the biological evolutionary thing of fail-safe to make you do something to know it's a threat or, get out of the room, whatever. Don't know.
Makes sense. It does make sense. I did really like that theory that you presented, because it does make sense. Just the body trying to protect itself. Okay, next story. So, I never knew this was a thing. I was in bed one night in 2018, lying on my back, and a tall, slender man in a wide-brimmed hat walked into my room. He was shadowy and featureless. He was sort of a blurred darkness. It was a small apartment in the East Village with just enough room for a queen-size bed and a couple of nightstands. He came into my room and slowly walked around the end of the bed and up the side of the bed where I was laying and loomed over me. The man wasn't outwardly menacing because he was featureless, but everything in me screamed that it had ill intent. I was fighting with every ounce of strength to jump up and fight or run or do anything. Eventually, I was able to break the paralysis and kick the air, and it disappeared. I was terrified and never talked to anyone about it until years later, when a friend mentioned word for word the same experience I had. It really shook me up. I've never experienced before or after night terrors, sleep paralysis, or paranormal activity. The memory is vivid and visceral, and sometimes comes to me as I'm trying to fall asleep. Not the experience, but just a sort of nightmare as I'm drifting off to sleep, and I jump awake. That's fucking horrible. And again, spoke to his mate, said the same thing verbatim that happened to him. It's fucked. Imagine that. You just think, what the fuck happened there? Then you speak to your friend months later, happened to them. So then you Google it and you realise this is a whole thing.
You're part of a club.
You're part of the Hatman Club now.
That's it. Get your t-shirt.
I'll tell you what.
Hatman t-shirt.
The Hatman Club. I saw the Hatman.
That's it.
Fucking write that down.
Yes.
Write that down. Put it in the drip chat. Say, Bailey, we need a Hatman design now. Hatman shirts coming soon. Oh, creepy, creepy, creepy.
I think
Don't
one
like
thing
it.
about that one that, again, I kind of relate to is the forcing yourself out of the sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
It's that kind of the overwhelming fight for, like, I need to do something
Yeah.
because the alternative is not good.
Death.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, 100%. It's crazy. I'm just really paranoid that I'm going to get sleep paralysis tonight because of this. I'm scared. I'm so
You could be
fucking
part
scared.
of the Hatman Club.
I can be part of the Hatman Club. At the moment, I'm part of the Sleep Paralysis Witch Club.
Oh, you're part of that club.
Yeah, I think I am.
I want to be part of the Hatman Club.
See,
Yeah,
I'm
I
part of
kinda
the
do.
Great White Samurai Club.
Well, that's it. I think you might be the only... Well, you haven't Googled, have you? You never know. It might be a thing.
True.
Might be a thing.
There you go.
Next story. When I was about 14, I lived in a house with my mum and an abusive stepdad. Most of our fights occurred outside my room at the end and dark area of the hallway. One night, I awoke to what I thought was my mum messing with me, standing in my doorway to scare me. I kept yelling at her to stop until I woke up some and noticed that it was actually a very tall, dark shadow wearing a very wide-brimmed hat and a long trench coat. I've literally never experienced fear like this in my entire life since and felt sick and as if I couldn't breathe. I told her about it the next day. I accidentally overheard her on the phone with a friend later that day and my mum telling my friend Lacey saw it too. I just about died. I ended up asking her about it and she told me that she had seen the Hatman at the same spot, dark part of the hallway, by my door 2 times while walking by vacuuming in the living room. So again, this is both. This has been seen during sleep paralysis and being seen just while you're fucking doing your chores. She tried to make me feel better by telling me it was someone watching over me. Yeah, it's just a nice angel watching over you, siphoning your life energy, feeding off of your fears. A few years ago, I'm now 35, my boyfriend's son asked him, "Do you ever feel like someone is watching us?" and proceeded to give him the exact description of the Hatman outside of his bedroom in the hallway where a lot of our arguments and turmoil tended to occur. I truly believe that it's a demon that follows you to places of turmoil and anything negative. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Feeding off of negativity, feeding off of fear, anxiety, pain. Horrible fucker. Horrible, horrible.
Yeah. I'm not a fan. The more you say of it, just the worse it gets. Kind of.
Yeah,
Knowing I have to sleep tonight.
that's it.
The more you say this, the more I'm like, am I going to see the Hatman? It's like, I don't want to.
If you do, let us know next week on the pod.
Take some sleeping tablets. Get some lucid dreams.
Seek him out.
That's it.
Take the fight to him. I think that's what people need to start getting fucking proactive.
That's it.
You know?
Wear a fedora when you sleep.
Oh.
You be the Hatman to him.
That's it. Be the fucking... Be like the Doom guy. You know? You're the one the fucking demons fear.
That's it. He might see you wearing a fedora and went, "Oh, there's someone here already on shift. I'll go somewhere else."
Maybe it's a Monsters
There you
Inc.
go.
type situation.
Just tip your fedora to him.
That's
I'll
it.
run at him in a cowboy snapback.
There you go. He does
1v1
also apparently
him.
wear cat. That's it. Maybe like, and take this the right way, Scott. When you die, maybe you could like not pass on, and then this could be your thing. You could just go around in a cowboy snapback, just scaring people in their sleep.
I'm
Like,
on board.
just watching you, siphoning your life energy.
Yes.
Checking out the
That-
neighborhood.
Just checking out the neighborhood.
That did kind of raise a theory in my head briefly when you said about siphoning life energy of what if the Hatman is an omen or an angel of death,
Yeah.
in the sense that you see it, but kind of if you don't react to it, and obviously we don't have any examples of people who haven't acknowledged it, is that when you then die in your sleep?
Jesus.
It's kind of a
hell.
leap, but
No, but I love it.
it's kind of the theory my head was going to a minute ago.
Yeah. That's pretty fucking gnarly, to be honest.
But does it siphon all of your life energy?
Yeah. So just takes that final sip.
Kind of like a Dementor in Harry Potter.
Dementor. Harry Potter. Not a fan. Controversial.
I think it's shit,
Thank you.
but it's just me.
That's it. Scott's got a fucking Hufflepuff fucking
Ravenclaw. Thank you very much.
Ravenclaw. There you go. Yeah, I knew it wouldn't be Gryffindor or Slytherin. I knew you'd be one of the niche ones. That's quality. I wonder what I'd be actually. What would I be? Scott, what do I come across as to you?
We'll do the test later and that'll go on Patreon.
There you go. There you go. Dudey becomes a Hufflepuff exclusive to Patreon.
Hufflegriff. Just make
Hufflegriff.
her up. Her own.
Hufflepuff are yellow, isn't they?
Yeah,
Oh, so you're blue.
I am.
Cool.
I mean, I turned up at your house, I think, in a Harry Potter costume once.
When the fuck did that
Halloween
happen?
party.
All right. Oh, yeah, you're a wizard, Harry Scott. Yeah. Right, next story. Come on now. People want to hear about the fucking Hatman. Not about fucking Ravenclaw, Scott.
He was wearing a sorting hat.
Ah, there you go. I had an experience. Nice. Back in July 2007, Facebook was in its infancy. So that's my theory out the window. MySpace. I had just bought a farm with my best friend with 2 homes on it. That's pretty cool. We lived in a river valley that had no cell or radio reception. This is pertinent to the story. On the day I saw him, it was about mid-afternoon. I'd poured a bath. Poured a bath? You pour a cup of tea. Poured a bath and was relaxing, reading a book. A little while in, I noticed that there was classical piano music playing in the background. This was odd, as I didn't have a TV. And as I mentioned, we didn't get radio or cell service where we were. It was so strange, in fact, I decided to get up and go see if I could find the source of the music. I searched my whole house and couldn't find a source. I decided that I wasn't going to let it bother me and went back to my bath. Fair play. Do you have a thought, Scott?
If I'm here, if I'm just sitting around and suddenly there is classical music coming from somewhere in my completely remote property,
Yeah. I would shit my pants.
I'm not then going, that's fine,
Yeah.
I'm just going to go back to
Yeah.
whatever I was doing.
Like, I know this isn't classical music, but like if you just sat there in your house and you just hear tiptoe through the tulips.
That is what I was thinking at the time.
Oh god, I'm gonna get copyright struck for how good that was. Fuck's sake.
But yeah, I don't know how you could then just go, that's fine, I'll go about my
Yeah,
day.
do you know
I would
what?
not
Fuck it.
would not stop until the classical music.
Do you know
was
what?
scored.
The only reason I'm getting back in that bath is to throw a toaster in with me because I'd be that scared.
Jesus.
I don't see
You know
how
what I
you
mean?
can go, that's fine, I'm going to ignore it.
Yeah, do you know what? Fuck it. I got 3 fucking music systems somehow now. Quality. Dear oh dear. But yeah, no, I completely agree. About 10 minutes later, while reading, just gone back to his book, I felt someone looking at me. I lowered my book and looked up. There in front of me was the shadow of a man wearing a wide-brimmed hat and a long trench coat. There's no way everyone sees the fucking same thing. This thing is real. I'm fucking telling you. There's no way everyone sees the same shit.
Especially while awake.
Yeah, this dude is like, you think I only do sleep paralysis? Darling,
Although,
hold my fedora, you bitch. And then they just fucking go, you know what I mean? There's no need for that. I'm sorry.
going back to the point from earlier,
There's no need for that.
awake but in a relaxed state,
Yeah.
in a bath, you would be more relaxed.
Genitalia splayed is vulnerable.
Probably the worst time to see a ghost, realistically.
Yeah. Imagine just this. This is horrible. Just the shadow man stood there, breathing heavily. I'm in the bath, mate. Can you not?
You just start.
Yeah. Oh, that's
That's it.
There it is. It's a compliment.
That's well, yeah.
Oh, dear. It was very disconcerting as he stared at me, checking me out. What is happening here? This is where my story takes a different turn from anyone else's I've read or heard about since. He spoke.
Oh!
I think this might be trolling, but we'll have to sit. Listen, we've got to take the rough with the smooth here, yeah?
We've made it this far.
He spoke. He said, I prefer blondes.
That's cool.
I know it is kind of insane, but I had a moment of affront before I came to my senses and realised that it would be crazy to be offended because a spirit didn't find me his type. I made the decision to ignore him and lifted up my book and continued to read. Fuck it. Later, I put it down and he was gone. For the record, I do not do drugs or drink. More than the occasional social drink. I have no mental illness, nor was I asleep. It was not a quick glance either. He was there for at least a solid minute or two. A few months later, my friend stayed at my house. She is blonde, and she swears that during the night, something was intimate with her. Now, I don't think we've got a Hatman here. I think we've got a bloody succubus. Incubus. Succubus. Incubus. Tell you fucking what. There were many other occurrences and entities that I saw while living in that home. I did try to find information online about the Shadow Hatman afterward, but in 2007 I couldn't find anything about him online. It wasn't until years later that I would discover Heidi Hollis and realise that visitation by this entity was not uncommon, although none I have seen or heard about sounds like mine. The replies. I had a similar experience. Ex-army, was in barracks, woke up from my sleep, couldn't move, so I went to say something to myself or shout, can't quite remember, then realised I couldn't. I freaked out and I sort of slowed down at this point. Looking straight in front of me was my window to outside, curtains mostly drawn, but I could notice something was different about outside, but couldn't put my finger on it. And out of nowhere, a motorbike helmet, like holographic colourful, fell through my ceiling onto my desk. I saw and heard and felt at the same time of the helmet. There was someone further to my right. It felt pure evil. The room changed atmosphere. It was hunched over, about 8, maybe 9 feet tall. Silhouette, no features, facial. That is complete black. Leant over my right side face. Saw a point. The grammar is awful. Saw a pointed nose and the peak of his top hat and said, "You could have prevented this from happening." It was also wearing a trench-type coat by the shadow shape. It was so real, felt so evil, and I genuinely believed it was in my room. I shot up and ran round my room in Barracks, single accommodation, fully trained station at my unit and froze in the corner of my room. My door was locked. Checked my bathroom, all clear. I didn't sleep that night. I always think about it. So in this one, which I think might have been a night terror, the shadow figure also spoke, which is very creepy. But I wouldn't say similar experience. I'd say the only thing similar there is that it spoke. But yeah, very, very interesting. I feel like that one was satire, but I'm not sure. Listen, who am I to judge people's experiences? At the end of the day, this thing might have a type. Has anyone checked? Has anyone checked the demographic of Hatman encounters victims? Has anyone asked? What's the hair colour? Why is no one asking this question? For the love of God, we could have a link there. You know, could be the bit that cracks the case.
This is vital data we need.
It's true.
Yeah, agreed.
Makes me angry, you know. People just overlooking things like that. Right, last story, and then we're going to do a question of the pod. Patreon.com/Dudey Rhino. I haven't seen him in almost a decade, but we've crossed paths twice. The first time around, I was laying on my stomach. My computer was on, so my room was dimly lit up. As I was about to switch positions in bed, I saw this black figure at the foot of my bed. He wasn't particularly tall at all, maybe 5'6". This was in his teenage years. But nevertheless, I wasn't too scared when I saw him, which was only for a split second. The second time was a bit more eerie. It happened whilst I was on vacation. It was in the middle of the night, pitch black and quiet as the grave. Who the fuck says that? A minute after I had closed my eyes, I started feeling a heavy, almost overwhelmingly uncomfortable energy in the room. I already knew there and then I wasn't alone, and was too scared to open my eyes. Alas, I decided to do so anyway, and saw him at the foot of my bed again, this time without a hat. Like the last time, I only saw him for a split second. What makes this second encounter a lot more unsettling to me is that I knew he was there before I saw him and could do nothing about it. Why this creature ever decided to observe me in the first place is beyond me. I hope I never cross paths with it again, because I feel it deep down has malign intent. Jeez. Scary stuff. Cool. I just want to say, anyone out there, if you've experienced this, please let us know. dudestories@gmail.com. Okay, that'd be absolutely excellent.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? What are your feelings?
I mean, other than the way that story was written, because that person was trying too hard in terms of actual story. The structure of the writing, I think, was intense. The actual experience...
Let's finish with a lawsuit. Fuck it.
Oh, the actual experience was solid. The fact that it's a double witnessing of the Hatman with progression. It had progression as well. It started off with that's a bit weird, I'll carry on. The second time, they were significantly more scared. And to the extent they don't want to see it a third time, I think it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Because normally, obviously, the more you become accustomed with something, the less scary it gets.
Yeah.
You'd think by the third time you see the Hatman, you'd be much, happier or much more used to it, I guess. But in this instance, it's getting darker, which I thought was quite interesting.
It's getting more malevolent, more malign.
As if it's drawn more energy from them.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see it.
I reckon the first time she saw the Hatman, he's seen that she's not really reacted. He's fuming. He's gone back to Hatman HQ and he's been reprimanded. So look, get you up your game. This is shit. First of all, where's the height? What the fuck are you doing? Right? You don't want to scare anyone at 5'6". So he
You
comes
need
back.
to manifest taller.
That's it. Yeah, he's gone away. He's starting to do. He's starting to do some Hatman workouts. He's getting there. He's progressing, and then the first target he does back is he's like, you know what? I'm gonna fuck this bitch up.
That's it. Listen.
I like it.
I don't know anyone that would argue with your logic.
At this point, I think it's nailed on.
I think you've cracked
Yeah.
the case.
Agreed.
Hatman HQ.
Merch coming soon. But no, seriously, I saw the Hatman Club shirts are legitimately coming. That's a fucking brilliant idea. Right, patron question of the pod. Scott, I feel like this one's for you, mate, in all honesty. Not to discriminate against me and Lozzie. Jordan Alliston asks, we will answer though, but I feel like this is your question. Who are your biggest inspirations in the ghost hunting world, or shows you used to enjoy the most? My personal favourite has always been Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters International, etc., with the TAPS team.
Yeah, that is a interesting question because there's a few different ways to approach it. I think Zach Bagans has to be up there
for sure.
Purely from a who he is point of view.
Yeah.
But having watched a lot of Zach Bagans' investigations, his investigative style is very different.
I love it.
Do
you know what? If I could adopt one thing from Zach Bagans, right, I would take on, when he gets air quotes possessed and then just starts like smashing the fuck out of his team. And he's just like getting in their faces, like, oh, you fucking, I'll fucking kill you. I'll kill you, motherfucker. And it's like, it would appear that I got possessed by the demon. It's like, no, mate, you just wanted to fucking hand it to your cameraman for 10 minutes. Yeah. We all know, Zach. Come on. Lay off. No, I was going to say lay off some class A's, but that was a joke. I don't believe that he does that. All right? It was a joke. It was a joke.
It was a joke. That's the headline.
So I think from a presentation and what he's kind of done for paranormal investigation point of view,
yeah,
bringing it into the kind of wider public eye, he's got to be up there. But then you get into your more sort of actual investigative people. I'm a big fan of the Kling brothers.
Nice.
Whose names I can't remember. I want to say it's Brad and Barry, but I might be wrong.
Brad and Barry.
Yeah, they're two twins. They've got a TV show. Basically, they do, or they used to have a TV show where they did the classic ghost hunting stuff. And there was just something about the way them and their team kind of did the investigation that I quite liked. They had I think their show was called Ghost Lab, and they literally dragged a laboratory around with them on the back of their truck, and they'd go in and they'd do like forensic level analysis of EVPs, and it was
forensic level.
They claimed it. They basically put it into like Audition, turned the volume up, but they claimed it was like they presented it as if it was like a proper inner lab doing like DNA analysis kind of.
EMF's going off to red. They're like, let's get the black light on that. Geez, covered in semen, ectoplasm. Oh wait.
It was kind of like the CSI of the ghost hunting world.
No, that's pretty cool. Okay.
They would do the extreme enhance and all that. And it's just good fun.
Oh yeah.
And then obviously the other one that has to be mentioned is Yvette Fielding.
The Queen.
Yeah.
Friend of the show. Friend of the pod. The absolute
answers.
The matriarch.
Yeah, that's it. I'd probably say Most Haunted scared me as a kid, so I guess it kind of helped. Zach Bagans is funny, isn't it? It's weird, really, because I've got a not the best relationship with paranormal shows. To be honest, I feel like, you know, the reason I really wanted to start doing this is because I just thought I can do that. And I think we might be able to do it a little bit, not better, because that's subjective, but there are things that they do that annoy me, you know, like some of the shit is just so fucking over the top. You know, like let's relax for a second and let's just think about this, you know. So I feel like I came at it more from a point of frustration than admiration.
Mm-hmm.
But also I just don't. I think it often surprises people. You know, I don't really watch paranormal content because I make it. And because I know that, like, when, you know, people that are fans of the genre and stuff, you know, they're like, oh, you must watch this, you must watch that, you know, you do this, so you must know this, you must know that. It's like, you know, when you make it, you kind of want a break from it. Well, I do anyway, you know, so I don't really watch all that much. I catch the odd Sam and Colby. To be honest, even though I am a believer, I do believe there is something out there. I really genuinely do believe there is something paranormal that we cannot explain that is out there, right? I find myself drawn more to debunking content than the paranormal content that is debunking, or if it's like a fucking like gnarly location, more so than actual creators. It's weird, yeah. It's really weird because, like I say, Zach Bagans awesome. Like you say, what he's done for the genre, etc. But at the same time, he does that possession shit where he gets aggy and I just think, mate, you are 100% putting this on, and you look like a twat right now. So it's just I just can't get on board with these shows because I feel like there's often no comical relief. They take it way too seriously. Yeah, that's why I feel like we're carving out what we're carving out, because I just don't really like that style.
Yeah,
It's weird.
I think with Zach Bagans, the earlier stuff, which was the stuff that actually got it into the public eye, was very good, and then it got too public. And I think it's always going to be the problem you have when you're a TV paranormal show.
Yeah, I think you're always going to have a producer in your ear.
Network
like,
executives aren't going to
we
want.
don't get something, you're going to get cancelled. You know that, right?
Network
Old school
executives
cancelled.
don't
Like,
want
you're not
to.
got a TV show anymore. Not, we're going to destroy your whole life. Yeah. Yeah. But it's just weird. I don't know. Yeah. What about you, Loz? How do you feel about paranormal shows?
I don't really have any inspiration because, I mean, my mum used to watch like Most Haunted and that, and I think she actually does watch a bit of what Zach Bagan does, but I never really watched it when I was younger. Never watched it when I was growing up, so I don't really. It's not something I'm really like the show of it. I'm not really interested in watching, but I am interested in making it because we do that content on this channel. So
Yeah.
I'm
That's what I
more
mean.
interested in getting like actually doing it rather than watching it.
Yeah.
Obviously I'll watch back our investigations because it's genuinely fascinating to see how it's made and what is the outcome of it.
Yeah.
But it's like if you ask, you know, some footballers, for example, don't watch football, but they play football and they enjoy football. For me, I don't really have any inspirations because I just haven't been exposed to much.
Yeah.
I guess the only inspiration I can say is just us lot, like as a group, just because that's my really only proper exposure to the paranormal world.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I think also, and I'm not making accusations here at all, but we are the only ghost investigation people that I can say in my own mind and heart don't fake anything. Whereas anyone else, I'm not saying they do, but I have no way of proving that they haven't.
Yeah.
So I can just, it's why, like, I often, because I had a bit of a sit down with myself once, because I was like, fucking hell, you make paranormal content, you go and do ghost hunts and stuff, you absolutely love it. But whenever I watched and reacted to a Nuke's Top 10, I was the most fucking skeptical asshole. And I think it is just because, like, the paranormal industry has got such a, not bad rap for faking things, but it's like, it's I think it's because it's such a fantastical thing, real or not, for people to get their head around that, they're gonna go towards, oh, it's fake. So knowing that we don't fake anything and we are happy to go all the way down to fucking Kent and camp in a fucking forest and literally fuck all happen and still put it out, you just can't guarantee that with anyone else, because we're not there. That's all I'm saying. That's because we're not there. Now, I know that does nothing for anyone at home at all. You just got to purely base it on trust. But because I know that we don't, but I just can't have that with anyone else. So there's always going to be that element of doubt,
Yeah.
But yeah, great question though.
Mm,
Apologies, apart from Scott, for giving an answer. Apologies if you didn't really get an answer that you were hoping for. But yeah, great question. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's Jordan Alliston over on the Patreon. You become a patron for £1 a month. You get lots behind the scenes, question of the pod, a group chat. You get early access, you get reactions, loads of cool stuff, right? Loads of cool stuff. I'll pump out as much as I possibly can, especially around investigations. Loads of stuff. I've got 6 minutes, the first 6 minutes of the investigation. They're going to be early access to all that good stuff. So, yeah, get yourself over there. Because all the money for the Patreon goes back into what we do, So, for example, the Patreon helped pay for the Airbnb that we stayed at 430 East Drive, which meant that we were beautifully refreshed for the investigation, which meant we could produce a better investigation. It goes towards travel and investigation costs, because these places cost money to rent out. So, yeah, help support us get to these cool places. So, yeah, also, little tidbit. You two don't know this, because I literally found out yesterday. So, Bailey knows someone whose stepfather is selling a house. Now, this house that they're selling is their family house, their home. Has had so much paranormal shit happen in it. It's actually horrifying. It has a cellar. It's a cottage. It's incredibly creepy. It's near Cambridge. And basically the daughter or the stepdaughter watches the investigations and stuff. Tuned in to Bailey's TikTok live when we were at 30 East Drive. And is a friend of Bailey's. And said that the stepdad would be happy for us to go. So that's a location that we could be doing very, very soon. So that's very exciting. That's very exciting.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, right. So that's it for this week. Thank you so much. We'll see you again next week for another podcast. Email your stories in, dudestories@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Drip, drop, drip, drippity, drop, drip. See you later. Bye.